now it's a time for disruptive technologies. We have exhibited our strength in India in terms of looking at new vaccine development, looking at platforms, and I think that has set the stage to give us the confidence of how academia and industry interact with each other, work collectively as stakeholders. I don't think we should lose that opportunity. We should not lose that momentum. We've created a wonderful ecosystem and try and see how we can bring in new disruptive technologies which are affordable and accessible to our population. We have a huge lot of them, whether it's AI, whether it's the genomics, whether it's you're talking about the CAR T cell technology, gene therapies. I mean, there are a whole lot of them. But we should keep our eye on that and not miss the opportunity to take it ahead. Keeping your eye on the upcoming one doesn't mean that you forget the ones which have a lot of potential, which also need to be taken forward. Like our whole focus on medical technologies, our whole focus on drug development, using high throughput, libraries for screening of drugs. We really need to do much more on our new drug development. And I think those could be potential areas that we take forward. Fit country, but more importantly, accessible, affordable healthcare delivered to the last mile.
A couple of very good realization which industry had was the attitude of it can be done, that has been re-established. People have become more sensitive to time. So the time which was being taken to develop products, to bring to market, has now significantly cut down. And it has happened because companies now know that they can do it if required whenever time comes. So probably they would bring it into their routine working culture. That was one big realization and big positive from last couple of years. Second is the role of digitization in pharma industry. A lot of companies have realized that digitization of their processes and using a lot of digital tools actually cut short the development time a lot, and that is now becoming integral part of it is already being integral part of the bigger companies, and the next level of companies are also taking that digitization initiative. So that is another and third is the government has also proven itself that when there is a need, they can work very closely with industry. We are working a lot on upgrading the existing quality monographs, that is one. Bringing a lot of new monographs for the products which have maximum impact on public health. We are becoming more and more visible and active on the global scene. We are the only pharmacopoeias in the world who have been added into the group called Pharmaceutical Discussion Group, which is responsible for global harmonization of pharmacopoeias. So originally there were three members, US, Japan and Europe. India is the fourth one which has been taken into that group as a pilot program, and not because of anything else, but the way Indian Pharmacopoeia has been working for last couple of years. So that's the way, that's the basis on which the Pharmacopoeia Commission is now growing forward, and within that we have lots of new things happening. We are harmonizing lots of our qualities with the global players from US and Europe. We are bringing out digital form of Indian Pharmacopoeia. Till now we have only the physical form of Indian Pharmacopoeia. So anything and everything to do with improving the quality of medicines being sold in this country, we are trying to address that.
I think one of the biggest initiatives of our policymakers, of our government, has been a stress on Make in India. It's going to be the key factor in getting a healthcare equity, certainly getting more and more advanced techniques and technologies, and for that matter, even the routine techniques and technologies, down to tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, and down to the grassroots level. I think that's an initiative that we're going to take forward. And I would say not just Make in India, but also research and science and advancements through India for the Indians. I think it's time to consolidate the lessons from the COVID pandemic and how we fought the COVID pandemic, to what's going to happen to healthcare for the future. There are three lessons which came forth and were tremendous initiatives again of our policymakers and the government. Of course, there's the telemedicine and telecommunication all the way downstream, which helped numerous people, numerous doctors, numerous patients during the lockdowns. There is the important aspect we must not forget. The whole country fought this pandemic together. So strong partnership, trust and understanding built up between the policymakers, the government, the private sector, the private healthcare, the paramedical, the healthcare workers, the manufacturers, the device manufacturers, including the patient base itself. All the stakeholders got involved, and we must not forget that aspect of trust and partnership and build up on that partnership. So if I was to put this into two buckets and say what's going to be the future, on what we can actually augment for the future, it's this issue around technology and telecommunication to create a healthcare equity downstream to the common man into the villages. And that can be done through many forces, including improvement upstream and downstream. And then, of course, the partnership, greater partnership between the stakeholders sitting around the table and achieving an India of tomorrow and achieving a healthcare delivery patterns for tomorrow. A great opportunity to cement on the learning from COVID, where every stakeholder fought it together for one aim, and that was to get rid of the virus and make everyone better. If you look at the last 3 years, the fight against COVID and the recovery thereof, the most important thing which comes to notice is the fact that we fought it all together. The nation came together. The policymakers, the government initiatives saved us from a havoc which could have been. We look at indigenous research and science, the partnership between the private and the government sector, which produced vaccines, the partnership between the industry and the government, which produced numerous PPEs and masks. N95s, which were not available earlier, became a thing of the present. If you look at patient care, objectives around keeping everybody healthy, keeping everybody safe, a true partnership. So I think as we move into the future, and by the way, most importantly, every person in this country got the same treatment, irrespective of where he lived and irrespective of his economic status. Every person in this country was cared for. A true healthcare equity happened during COVID times. And therefore, if I look at this together, and if you can get the stakeholders to continue to think together and to continue to work together, every government initiative I know is now aimed at getting everybody around the table, creating this partnership with a single motto. And the motto, I think, is achieving healthcare equity for this country together. And that should be our motto. Simple decrease in charges and costs is not the real issue. The real issue is, can we get quality care down to every person in this country, irrespective of economic status and irrespective of where he lives, even in the remotest villages. So it's true healthcare equity for all and together.
For companies who want to be engaged digitally and through technology to build the platforms that allow them to actually set the stone and set the foundation for the years to come. With consumer behaviors changing, with consumer trends and desires changing, with them wanting to engage with all parts of their life through technology, it becomes very essential that healthcare jumps onto this bandwagon, not to be left behind. Now, this cannot replace good quality, trust, credibility, and accuracy. So just an organization or a provider having technology as their USP is not enough. Technology needs to be an add-on and a very important feature, but it cannot replace the fundamental science, credibility, and trust that a good healthcare provider builds with doctors as well as with patients. I think we are seeing a pendulum shift where in the past, pre-COVID, We found good healthcare organizations engaging with patients and doctors in a brick and mortar way. And we are seeing now some technology first organizations engaging with patients and consumers in a new way. But the ideal balance is going to be between the two. It cannot be one or the other. For this new year, I think the diagnostic resolution for India should be about how do we really improve and upgrade the overall standard of quality for the industry. Making healthcare or diagnostics accessible is important. Making it affordable is also important. But neither is more critical than making it accurate. Because if the patient doesn't get the right quality of diagnosis, how will they get the right quality of treatment? Doctors are so dependent on diagnostics to make the right treatment decisions. How do we do more complex testing faster? How do we give genetic results quicker? How do we do molecular biology tests on the spot? And I think that's going to become a big trend going forward as well.
I think 2023, we have a lot of work to do. This is a moment for us after COVID where we're all sort of focused on health. Vaccines, we're the factory to the world, that's going to grow. Diagnostics is going to be critical, going closer in terms of primary healthcare, building diagnosis there, making sure we have population level screening for health so that we go into preventive mode. So those are the big ones for next year for me. The technology that we should be focusing on is really getting to in front of the consumer, in front of the person who needs it, being able to screen them without having the necessary human resources. So using technology, artificial intelligence or whatever technology to be able to screen them for diseases, for challenges around health, and what could be done to make population health better. So I would just focus on primary healthcare, diagnostics. That's going to take us to universal healthcare. We are in a G20 presidency year, so that's a big one for us, for India. And I think we can not only fix things in India, but actually help a lot of countries in low middle income countries to actually fix their systems.
2022 was, in the sense we made, with respect to domestic market, we made a growth around 8%, and with respect to domestic market, export market, it was a slightly, just 0.6% growth only in 2022, because in 2021, Indian pharma exports grew by 18%. So there is a leveling took place last year, but this year outlook is much better. In the sense now exports have become very positive. It's going around 5% now, but it's going to go around 8% by the end of the year. And the domestic market is growing around 8% now. Pharma is embracing technology because we are very eager to bring in new technologies, new drugs and new chemical entities, new drug delivery systems and all. So even here in PMEC and a lot of interest. People all over India has come to visit the PMEC. So technology disruption is welcomed by Indian pharma industry.
There were a lot of new developments which happened in the healthcare space, especially the healthcare tech space in 2022, especially about personalized healthcare, about wearables, about people wanting to do a lot of things remotely. Those trends of using technology, of using remote access to many of the healthcare facilities is going to continue into 2023. We're going to see a lot of people access hospitals and healthcare facilities through apps, through their mobile phones. I think mobile phone will become a very important place where again a lot of this healthcare data will be saved and accessed from place to place and wherever the individual goes. Of course, this will be together, also along with the security of the data security issues. They will also, I think, feature big time. I also feel that we will see more and more technology becoming more and more into our lives, especially about predictability, using algorithms to write solutions for diseases. We will see much more happening via the artificial intelligence, machine learning, where the clinicians and the doctors will be helped by AI, ML to make valued decisions. We will see this again continuing. We will see hospitals and healthcare institutions trying to become more and more efficient. We will see government trying to help a lot of people in remote areas get healthcare access. So overall, we will what started during the pandemic about the technology coming big time into healthcare, we will see that trend continuing and more people wanting to use technology to improve their health. I also feel that people will become more conscious about their personal health, about the family health, about the health of their families. People will become more conscious about looking at insurance, health insurance too, so that whenever they have a huge health spending, the out-of-pocket expense in India, which is one of the highest in the world, we see certain things happening in that direction also. If I would recommend one healthcare practice or one healthcare habit to be taken up in the next year, I think it should be a basic health checkup of your entire family, and then maintaining a longitudinal record of every member of your family going through a simple health checkup, so that first of all it keeps your gives you a baseline of where your health stands, and also gives early indications of any lurking healthcare issue in the future.
2022 was a significant year for healthcare in India. The first month ended with the Omicron outbreak, which indirectly signified the end of the COVID pandemic. While the COVID pandemic may have ended, the pandemics of lifestyle have resurfaced. The cardiac issues, oncology, diabetes, the diseases of lifestyle, they are again back with a bang, and hospitals have been working full steam to cope up with all this pent-up demand. Some of the behaviors that we've seen during the COVID pandemic have definitely disrupted Indian healthcare, and these behaviors are now beginning to stay consistent. Some of the positive things or the silver linings have been the adoption of technology by both the patients and hospitals. Hospitals have realized that investments in digitization and technology will go a long way in improving patient care. Patients have also taken to technology and have realized that teleconsultations, video consultations have become a way of life. In addition, public and private collaboration has also demonstrated how healthcare can be made more accessible to the general population. So overall, there are lots of learnings that have come out, and these have been evident in the behaviors this year. As we move forward, what lies ahead? Significant awareness about one's own health and immunity has crept in. Patients have started opting repeatedly for their health checkups, as well as taking up insurance in higher amounts, which means that universal healthcare is slowly beginning to spread. In addition, adoption of technology is going to be here for the long run. It's very evident by this change of behavior. And overall, I feel that just as our economic indicators as a country are beginning to show significant improvement and resilience, in the years to come, the health indicators should also move in the same trajectory.
Year 2023, I would say it's more of a digital transformation, where especially after COVID, HCPs have started, and the engagement with our healthcare professionals have started more in the hybrid mode. So that has helped pharma companies to come up with some innovative solution in terms of customer engagement. And additionally, what some of the things that pharma has started doing is, how do you provide an omni-channel engagement? So omni-channel engagement to our customers, right? So where are the HCPs looking at? What kind of content are they looking at? And focusing at in terms of engaging. And this is more on the HCP side, while on the patient side as well, there are a lot of digital solutions that are coming up in terms of, enabling quality of life and also creating awareness. There are multiple apps, and India is one such, country. If you look at it, with close to around 60,000 plus generic medicines in the market, there are 7,000 plus startups that have come in India, which is like completely on health tech, solutions on health tech, right? So there are things that today what I see from 2022 moving into 2023 is, one, IoT. How do we provide that personalized experience to our customers, be it patients or to HCPs, and also bringing in some innovative. where you kind of look at AI and a behavioral science based solution. So that is something that I would look out in 2023. While there's long way, there are other tech companies in the services industry which they've completely moved along. Pharma is one some company where we are taking a step by step approach, but there's still a lot more to go. I think 2023 we will see some of the solutions which will be beyond our reach, which will come in pharma.
So my hope for 2023 is that immuno-oncology will continue to deliver effective therapies for patients affected by heme malignancies and solid tumor. In terms of technology, coming from the American Society of Hematology, I believe bispecific and multispecific will help patients with a serious disease prevail and give them the hope of a cure. I think what we have to do in 2023 is to enhance diversity in the inclusion in our clinical trials to get results from populations that are most reflective of the general populations those drugs are going to be approved for. And in that aspect, I call for the pharma industry to focus on ESG, environment, get our industry greener, diversity, include patients from different horizons, different races, reflective of the different socio-economical level of our society. And governance, I believe that a good governance, a transparent governance, will also help this industry further succeed in 2023.
Pharma companies in India, I think they have seen a great time, especially the post-COVID. India has become the pharma capital of the world. So every corner of the world, we are seeing that the medicines are being exported from the country. And in fact, this has grown tremendously over the last few years. It is not just the large pharma giants, they are kind of exporting more. The great part it is that even a lot of small and medium enterprises, the manufacturing enterprises on the small and medium side also, they are also now exporting a lot, especially to the rest of the world, and which is where I think bringing the growth for the pharma industry in the India. And from a future point of view, I definitely see the growth will be even more, because the kind of an work these companies are doing, there are a lot of new plants are being set up, there are new machineries that the pharma units are buying, and which itself says that the pharma units are very gung-ho about the future, and the exports definitely I see that it should increase. Right. So on the manufacturing side, I was saying that since the exports have kind of increased, and this will continue to increase because the demand for the medicine, especially in the rest of the world, it is increasing, and they are looking for a quality drugs in a cheaper price, and which is what Indian manufacturing companies provides. And even on the drug discovery and on the vaccines, so there also we are seeing there is a good support system that is being created. The clinical trials, while clinical trials I'm not very sure, but at least on the drug discovery side, there are a lot of companies who have started operating out here, and a lot of those companies are working towards it.